Due to popular demand, I decided to finally take a look at King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. I hesitated on this one for years, mainly due to the fact that after reviewing King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match, I felt there isn't too much left to say. However, I'm here to deliver you what you guys want, no matter the cost. Similar to the previously mentioned 98 Ultimate Match, Unlimited Match is once again a dream match featuring a ton of characters from previous King of Fighters game. Over 66 characters, including various EX versions for some of them. Unfortunately, the incredibly OP Orochi could not make a return for this one, but we now have some new boss characters to play with, including my boy Ignis. Even though he isn't Orochi, Ignis is still crazy OP and helped to hide my lack of skill. Dude has a whip that fills his special meter up incredibly fast, so he can just end up spamming his EX and desperation moves. Really enjoyed using him. And speaking of whip, she deserves a shout out for her unique arsenal and tools. As her name implies, she carries a whip that has insane range. She even has a freaking gun, which I guess considering who's in the tournament is fair game. Overall fun to use, but a pain to go up against. They also added a unique character called Nameless, who was ultimately a replacement for another character known as K9999 due to copyright issues. While the appearance is different, the character performs the same as the one replaced. Ultimately, he's not someone I see myself coming back to often, but is fun in his own right. I personally wish he didn't look so much like Kyo considering we have 4 of them. Even though there are more characters in this game than in 98 Ultimate Match, there are surprisingly some noticeable omissions. For example, there are 4 different versions of Kyo Kusanagi, but only one Yori Yagami, omitting his Orochi version. Outside of Orochi himself, there are also other characters who didn't return from 98 such as Shizuru and Mr. Big. While I would have liked to have seen these characters return, it doesn't detract too much from the overall experience. Presentation wise, the game features backgrounds with higher fidelity, however I do have some gripes with them. In 98 Ultimate Match, you were able to see your team in the background reacting to what's happening in the fight. It created a feeling of actually participating in a tournament. Now your team is nowhere to be found, having the environments feel more static as a result. The backgrounds also create a conflict with the sprites themselves, as the characters do not have the same level of detail within them. I'm guessing this is due to reusing many of the sprites from previous titles, and having to recreate every single character will be incredibly time consuming. As for the fighting itself, it is to be expected for the series, which is nothing short of being an incredibly deep and technical fighter. Every character has their standard moves, special move, desperation moves, and all that jazz. Even with a character considered to be on the lower end of the tier list, it really ultimately comes down to skill and timing. Due to this, King of Fighters can be absolutely brutal to newcomers. It's always daunting thinking about who to choose and what your team setup should be in the 3v3 bouts. Thankfully, there are plenty of guides online to help you get started. The 3 main I'd recommend for understanding fundamentals is Terry Bogard, Kyo Kusanagi, and Benimaru Nikado. All 3 are easy to learn and very versatile in various situations. Content-wise, the game is a pretty solid package. You have your standard arcade mode that plays very similarly to 98 Ultimate Match. Depending on your performance will determine the final boss and sub-boss you will encounter, so there definitely is motivation to go back to see who you will end up facing next time. Some of these bosses can be downright insane for how difficult the AI can be, so good luck on your journey. Endless mode is basically a survival mode against the whole roster. If you could get through the whole roster in one go, I salute you. Challenge mode is basically a list of, well, challenges for you to complete. These mainly involve some sort of move or technique within the allotted time. This could have been a great way to teach newcomers, but unfortunately there are no button prompts nor hints on how to perform certain functions. Also, don't forget to check out the practice mode.
We talking about practice.
There's a solid offering here with various parameters that can be set up for the AI.
We talking about practice.
Unfortunately, the practice mode here has been surpassed with more detailed tutorial systems of more modern fighting games.
How the hell can I make my teammates better by practicing?
The biggest reason why many people play fighting games nowadays, however, is for the online play. The game features rollback netcode, which I won't get too technical here, but it allows for smoother play even in situations with higher ping. Fighting games require precise inputs, as any delay can be the difference between victory and defeat. Because of the superb netcode, matches tend to be buttery smooth with barely any delay, if any at all. The chance for you to find someone, however, will definitely vary as the community on Steam tends to be small. Overall, I prefer 98 Ultimate Match due to the roster and presentation of that game, but I can still recommend this one. It has an incredibly large roster, solid but familiar fighting mechanics, and a decent amount of modes, and also a great netcode. Apologies for this one being a bit of a shorter video, but there will be longer videos coming in the future. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is Pow3rh0use, signing off.